Hi, it's Tom from the Verre collection. In this short video, I'm going to introduce to you some of the best working practices associated with using your Verre system. Hopefully a few hints and tips that will allow you to get the very most from your new wine and champagne preservation technology. First of all, when you receive your system from us, you should have something that looks a bit like this. These are your stopper boxes, and in them are the various stoppers that we need to use our Verre system. You'll have 20 of these, the black and grey rubber top stoppers for still wines. You'll have 10 of these, the purple top stoppers. We use these for screw cap wines. I'll come on to why in a moment. And you'll also have 6 of these, which are the stoppers that we use for sparkling wines and champagnes. So, let's start with still wines. As per my previous video, the system's incredibly simple to use. Simply take your bottle, pour your customer a glass, insert your black and grey stopper into the top of the bottle, come to the still wine side of the system, light up with pressure, the system will go orange while it's working, green when it's done, and that bottle is now resealed and will stay fresh for up to 21 days. So, what are the working practices associated with creating a great still wine by the glass service? Well, first of all, each and every time you pour a glass of wine for one of your customers, we should reseal after serving. The process takes anywhere between 2 and 5 seconds, depending on the amount of wine that's left in the bottle. And is as simple as stopper in, up to the system, resealed and returned to the fridge. It's important to note that with the number of still wines now that are offered with a Stelvin or screw cap closure, that we need to make sure we're using the right stopper for each wine. A lot of the newer world wines that you'll see with the screw cap closure have a much wider neck than our traditional French, German, older world style wines, which have a slightly narrower opening. You'll notice when you try and insert one of our black and grey stoppers into a new world or into a screw cap style, you get a fairly loose fit. This means that we can't create a vacuum inside the bottle and that the wine will oxidise if the wrong stopper is used. So it's important with screw cap wines that we take our purple stoppers. You'll notice you get a much snugger fit as you push it into the bottle, and then carry on exactly as we would with our previous wine. Up to this side of the system, orange while it's working, green when it's done, and that wine will now stay in perfect drinking condition for up to 21 days. We recognise that in some bars and in a busy bar environment where you've got your fast moving wines, it might not be realistic to reseal after every single pour. What we'd say in that scenario is when you get a lull in service, take an opportunity to grab 1, 2, 3 bottles, come to the system and to reseal them all and make sure those wines are preserved. Whenever you've got a slightly more premium wine on offer, I've got a great bottle of wine here which we might, for example, be serving by the glass. It's important that as soon as we've served the glass, we want to come up to the system and reseal. Oxidation's a cumulative process, and what we're doing is we're stopping it, but we're not able to reverse it. So it's important to remember that when you're serving customers a glass of wine. If we move on now to sparkling wines, champagnes and the like, as per my previous video, system incredibly simple to use. We open a bottle, pour our customer a glass, we insert the stopper into the top of the bottle, clip goes around the neck, we come to the champagne side of the system, orange while it's resealing, green when it's done, and that champagne will now stay in perfect drinking condition for up to 21 days. What's important to note with champagnes is that we really don't have a margin for error in terms of resealing after every pour. I always try and explain it to people, if the carbon dioxide that's escaping from within the champagne bottle were pink, you would always reseal after every time you serve the glass. It's only because we can't see the CO2 escaping that means that people sometimes forget to reseal in between pours. My personal view would be that there's something quite special about the pop of opening a new bottle of champagne in front of each and every customer as they come in for a glass too. So just an added incentive to make sure that after every pour, stopper in, clip around the neck, and anywhere between 2 and 5 seconds, just to introduce that controlled head pressure of CO2 and keep that champagne in perfect drinking condition. One thing to note is that if you're serving prestige cuvée vintage champagnes, you'll need a different style of stopper to the traditional brut non-vintage champagnes that we've been looking at so far. So, to give you an example, we take our bottle of brut Taittinger champagne with its stopper. We also have a bottle here of Dom Perignon. If we try and introduce the standard champagne stopper into our Dom Perignon, you'll note that it won't fit and you can't quite get it in. That's because Dom Perignon, Krug, those sorts of champagnes have a slightly narrower opening at the top of the neck. We have a specially modified stopper, which you're able to introduce to these bottles, which goes straight in, clips around the neck. Once you've used that stopper, using the system exactly as before, introduce the bottle, upward pressure, orange while it's working, green when it's done, and that champagne will stay in perfect drinking condition for up to 3 weeks. You can get these stoppers from us online in the UK or through our distribution network internationally, so just get in touch for more details. My last tip for serving champagne by the glass and for a great champagne by the glass service would be to look at having a number of our chrome topped stoppers available for your more premium champagnes available by the flute. I think they're a real differentiator. If you've got your champagnes on display, whether that be in an ice bucket on the bar or in a fridge behind the bar, it's just an added statement. Something slightly different from maybe the lower range champagnes, Proseccos, Cavas that you have on display as well. You can see here, I've got 2 bottles of Tassinger, one with our standard champagne stopper in, the other with the chrome top. Just a slight point of difference.